The sky above was a vivid blue, a canvas unmarred by even the faintest wisp of cloud. Two monks, Tanzan and Ekido, walked along a winding dirt road, their sandaled feet stirring up small puffs of dust with every step. The road was lined with towering cedars whose ancient trunks whispered secrets to the wind, and the occasional chirp of unseen birds punctuated the stillness. Tanzan, the older of the two, had a face that seemed carved from the very stones they tread upon. Weathered, serene, yet with a hint of mischief in his eyes. Ekido, in contrast, was younger, with an expression of earnest seriousness that bordered on rigidity. They walked in silence, the weight of their shared vows pressing upon them like the midday sun. As they rounded a bend, they encountered a scene that broke the tranquil rhythm of their journey. A wide, muddy road stretched before them, the recent rains having transformed the path into a mire. Standing at the edge of the mud was a young woman dressed in a vibrant silk kimono. Her delicate features were framed by raven-black hair, and her eyes darted nervously as she tried to gauge how to cross without soiling her garments. She looked up as the monks approached, her expression a mixture of relief and embarrassment. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice soft yet tinged with desperation. "I need to cross, but the mud. Could you perhaps assist me?" Ekido stiffened, his hands clasping the sleeves of his robe. Monks, according to their vows, were forbidden to touch women. To him her request was unthinkable, but Tanzan, without a moment's hesitation, stepped forward. "Of course," he said, his voice calm and kind. Before Ekido could protest, Tanzan bent down, effortlessly lifting the woman into his arms. She let out a small gasp of surprise, but quickly smiled, clutching her kimono tightly to avoid it brushing against the mud. Tanzan waded through the muck with steady steps, his sandals sinking into the mire but never faltering. On the other side, he gently set her down. She bowed deeply, her gratitude evident in the sparkle of her eyes. "Thank you, kind sir," she said, before continuing on her way. Tanzan nodded, brushing the mud from his robes. He turned back to Ekido, who stood frozen at the edge of the mud, his expression a mixture of shock and disapproval. Wordlessly, Tanzan resumed walking, and after a moment's hesitation, Ekido followed. The silence between them was no longer serene. It was heavy, charged with Ekido's unspoken thoughts. For hours they walked without a word, the sound of their footsteps the only accompaniment to the growing tension. Tanzan, seemingly unaffected, hummed softly to himself, occasionally pausing, to admire a flower or a bird. Finally, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Ekido could contain himself no longer. "How could you do that?" he burst out, his voice sharp. "We are monks! We've taken vows! How could you touch a woman so casually?" Tanzan stopped and turned to face him, his expression as calm as the surface of a still pond. "I set her down hours ago," he said simply. "Why are you still carrying her?" Ekido's face flushed, and he opened his mouth to retort, but no words came. He realized in that moment the weight of his own attachments. The image of Tanzan carrying the woman had clung to him like a shadow, growing heavier with every step. It was not Tanzan who had broken their vows, but Ekido who had allowed his judgments to bind him. They continued their journey, but now the silence was different. It was a silence of understanding, of reflection. Ekido walked with lighter steps, the tension in his shoulders easing as he let go of the burden he had carried for so long. Over the years, the story of Tanzan and Ekido became a lesson passed, down through generations. It was told in monasteries, in quiet corners of temples, and to wandering seekers of wisdom. It was a reminder that true freedom comes not from rigid adherence to rules, but from the ability to release one's attachments, to judgments, to desires, to the past. Tanzan and Ekido eventually parted ways, each continuing their own journey. But the memory of that day lingered in Ekido's heart, shaping his understanding of the path he walked. He learned slowly but surely the art of being silent, not just with his words but with his mind, letting go of the ceaseless chatter of judgment and expectation. Years later, when Ekido himself became a teacher, he often recounted the story to his students. He would smile as he said, "The greatest burdens we carry are the ones we refuse to set down. So tell me, what are you still carrying?" And in the quiet that followed, his students began to understand. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.